Hey guys, so in today's video I'm going to be doing my very first eye tutorial. I go ahead and explain to you guys how I got this eye look right here, and it's using the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette, which I'm so in love with, as most people are. But if you guys want to see how I got this eye look, then just stay tuned. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to get a couple pieces of Scotch tape. And I know this probably sounds crazy to some of you guys, but this is what's going to help get a really nice clean edge on our eyeshadow that we're doing today. So we're going to stick that right underneath the corner of your eye and run that right along the side. Make sure you don't get your eyelashes in it, but just regular old Scotch tape that we're using. You want to make sure that they're as even as you can get them. And I think this one's a little high. So now that we've got those on and even, I'm going to prime my eyes. And I'm just going to use some concealer. And I'm going to use the Maybeline FitMe in the shade 15. You can use an eyeshadow primer if you've got one. And I do. I just feel like using concealer. It works just as well. And then we're gonna blend that in. Okay, so now what we want to do before we get into the Jaclyn Hill palette, which this palette doesn't really have a good shade as far as like setting your concealer or your primer, so I'm just gonna grab, there isn't much left in here to show you guys, but I have just a shade, kind of a normal skin tone shade in this palette. I'm just gonna lay that down all over it. And in case you guys are wondering, I'm looking in my mirror over here. That's why I'm not looking directly at the camera. Okay, so now that that's set, what we're gonna do is get started on the Cranberry eye. And we are gonna use the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this palette or seen it at some point, and it is beautiful. If you don't own it, I suggest that you get it. You can buy these now at Ulta and on the Morphe website, which I'll put all that information down below. Be a really, really good Christmas present if you don't already own it. So I'm gonna take a fluffy brush. This is an IT Cosmetics brush, but I'm not sure which one it is, but we're going to take these two top shades right here, right on the top, and we're going to mix those together, and we're going to throw those right into the crease and lay down a good transition shade. Okay, then we are going to go in with a Morphe M441 brush, and I'm going to take this middle kind of brown mustardy shade, and I'm going to put that in the crease as well, just a little bit lower than the shade that we just put down. I'm keeping most of the product on the outer corner and then dragging whatever's left to the inner corner. On this look specifically, you don't want too much of your pigment on the inner corner, so by laying it down on the outer corner, blending and then diffusing it in, you'll get that nice smoky look. Now we are gonna go in with, let's go in with this shade right below that shade that we just used. We're gonna go in with that one right there, and make sure with these that you're tapping off the excess before you start applying them to your eye. You don't want too much pigmentation right to the start. If you do, it's going to be really difficult to blend, and you're just kind of creating more work for yourself. So make sure you're tapping off the excess. And we're going right on top and a little bit below that shade that we just applied. Now you can tell I'm not going all the way up in the crease where we applied those first transition shades. We're starting to kind of bring it down just a little bit. Again, focusing on the outer corner and then diffusing everything to the inner corner. Okay, now we're going to go in with a Morphe M573. It's very similar to the brush that I just used. This one's just a little bit fluffier and not as tapered. Now we're going to go in with this shade right here, which is right next to the one that we just applied. This one's more of the actual cranberry and a little bit darker. Again, tapping off that excess, keeping this on the outer corner. We're going to bring this down a little bit lower onto the actual lid itself. And again, we're going to diffuse that to the inner corner. Okay, so once you've gotten those shades applied, you should have something kind of like this. And now what we're going to do is go in and put the some color all over the lid. I'm going to take a Morphe M224 brush. This is just a flat shader brush. And I'm going to spray that with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus. You can use water or any other kind of setting spray if you have anything on hand. And what we're going to do is we are going to go in with this cranberry sparkly shade right here on the corner. Get some of that all over our brush. And we are going to apply that directly onto the lid, making sure that we don't go above the crease. And if you have any kind of fallout on down on your face, don't worry about it. We can clean all that up. We don't have our foundation or any powders or anything applied yet. So back in with that same shade. Okay. So what we want to do to seamlessly blend those colors together, the shade that we just applied to the rest of our look, we're going to go back in with just kind of mixing these shades together and tapping off the excess. And we're just going to clean that up a little bit. We're going to go lightly right back over where those two shadows meet. And we're just going to do some more blending. Lots of blending. Okay. And then if you want to, you can even deepen up those outer corners just a little bit more. And I'm going to go in with this shade right here. It's kind of a deep purple with a lot of brown in it. We're just going to hit that on the outer corner and then lightly blend that across. Focusing it mainly out here on this outer corner though. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a clean blending brush. This is just a Wet n Wild blending brush. And I'm just going to go right over everything that we just did and kind of blend everything together. Clean everything up. Make sure we don't have any harsh lines. And now we can remove our tape. I can get a hold of it. Okay, and you can see eyes watering. We have got nice clean lines now. So what we want to do is clean up this powder. Kind of had some fallout, so we're going to go ahead and clean that up and I'll be right back. Okay, if you have a makeup wipe, that's really the best way to kind of get that cleaned up, but I didn't have any in here, so I had to go improvise. So we got that all cleaned up. So now what we want to do is go ahead and apply our face makeup. Go ahead and put some foundation on and some primer. Let's see. I'm going to use the Porefessional primer. I think I have a little bit left in here, maybe. Okay, we're gonna put this right in the T-zone. This is really, really good at filling in pores. I don't have very large pores, but it just kind of gives a little bit smoother of a finish. Gonna go in with the Wet n Wild foundation. I've got mine in Nude Ivory. This is a really good foundation. I mentioned this in my not top 10, but just 10 of my favorite drugstore products. And I like that it has this little spatula on it. If something doesn't have a pump, which is my favorite, I at least like that this has a spatula. Okay, I just kind of put that all over my face, then I'm just going to blend this in with a damp L'Oreal sponge. Now that we've got that blended in, I'm going to go in with a little bit of the Tarte Shapetape, which I've got mine in the shade Fair Neutral, which to be honest is super light, but I'll make it work. Do a couple dots of that under the eyes. A little bit in the center of the face. And then I'm going to mix some of the Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 15 Fair. Okay, so now that we've got our concealer done, I'm going to go ahead and set that in the rest of my face with the, let's do the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder in Fair Light. A little bit of that in the lid. And I'm going to use a brush this time, and I'm just taking this on an e.l.f. foundation blurring brush. These are good and super, super affordable. I'm just going to press that underneath the eye. Make sure we set that, and then we're going to go down the perimeters of the face where we put that concealer. And then I'm also going to take a big fluffy brush, and this is the Real Techniques powder brush, and just go all over the rest of the face. Okay, so now that we've got everything set, I'm gonna go ahead and go in and finish the eyes off before we finish the face. So we want to smoke out our lower lash line. Right now we have nothing on the lower, starting to look a little top heavy. So we're gonna go back in with the Jaclyn Hill palette, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this shade that we used earlier on that same brush that I started with, which was that It Cosmetics brush. Tap off the excess, and we're just going to go right underneath this lash line. And now what we're going to do is go back in with that Morphe M441 that we used earlier, and I'm going to mix these two shades again. And we're going to bring that down just a little bit lower than the shades that we just applied. And I'm going to make sure that we connect that to that outer corner. Okay, and now I'm going to take, it's right in front of my face, the Morphe Y21. This is a flat definer brush, and I'm going to go back in with that shade that we used on the outer corner on the upper, and I'm going to get a little bit of that on my brush, and I'm going to focus this right against the lower lash line, just on the outer corner and portions of the eye. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is you're gonna highlight the brow bone. I'm gonna use these top two shades right here, and then pop that on the inner corner as well. Okay, and now what we want to do is apply some mascara. I'm just going to curl my lashes really quickly. And today I'm going to go in with the Essence Volume Stylist 18-Hour Curl and Hold. This is super cheap at Ulta. It's less than $5 if I remember correctly. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and finish my face. Let's see, what do I need? I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of contouring, nothing crazy. I'm going to go in with the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer on a Real Techniques contour brush. Just add a little bit of definition right there. Okay, then I'm going to take the Real Techniques blush brush, but I use this for bronzer all of the time, and I'm taking this with the NYC bronzer in the shade Sunny. Just gonna bronze up the temples a little bit. Okay, now for blush, I'm going to be taking a Wet n Wild brush. And none of the Wet n Wild brushes have any names on them or numbers or anything. But I'm going to take that with the Tarte Party blush. This was the little sample that I got from Sephora. I think it was on my birthday. But I love it. It's a good everyday little flush to the cheeks. Okay. And then I'm not going to do any highlight because I'm going to film another video after this, and I'm going to be testing out a new to me highlighter for the first time. So I'm not going to do any highlight right now. And I'm not going to do any lips at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and clean up this mascara, put on some lashes, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm all finished. I have put on some lashes, which I don't remember the exact name of them. I think they're by Ardell. I'll have to look that up and leave that down below for you guys. And then the lip I'm wearing is Colourpop's Beeper. Just a really good, pretty deep red shade. But that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!